But the First Coast has made countless headlines in 2024.
And so with just one day left in the year, Katie Jeffries is taking a look back at 2024's biggest court cases and crimes.
2024 was an active one for law enforcement, judges, and juries across the First Coast. Crime doesn't take a day off, and the courts stayed busy with several high-profile cases. Neighbors on Castle Boulevard described hearing up to 6 gunshots and then a blood-curdling scream, giving way to the first homicide of 2024 in Jacksonville, a 14-year-old boy, Micah Thomas.
A couple minutes after that, just heard this unearthly scream.
5 months later, arrests would be announced. 16-year-old Ryan Brown, 23-year-old Isaiah Connor both face murder charges for the 14-year-old's death. 20-year-old Lamaya Gillis also faces a charge of accessory after the fact. But as the year progressed, the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office says the city's murder rate has dropped by more than 50% compared to 2023. The Sheriff's Office, working with iCare, a coalition of faith leaders, is credited for the drop in the murder rate, saying they seek out the people most likely to commit the next act of violence.
And you go to them with a collection of community resources and a collection of law enforcement resources.
But a series of shootings at Jacksonville Beach during a crowded St. Patrick's Day celebration did send people running in fear of an active shooter. 1 person was killed, 3 others hurt in 3 separate shootings that occurred within a 45-minute window.
The fact that we had a couple of bad actors out here that really made a dangerous situation for everyone is extremely tragic and unfortunate.
The Jacksonville Beach Police say they heard there was going to be a large gathering of juveniles near the pier for boxing matches or fights. When that crowd was dispersed, that's when the shootings began. The first in front of the Best Western, where 2 men exchanged gunfire, injuring each other and a bystander. Then another man seen firing a shot near the Ritz bar. And finally, 21-year-old James Jones III found dead behind Sneakers Sports Grill. His mother confronting the police chief during a meeting in July after no arrests were made.
I need to know I want answers for my baby.
I can tell you your son's case is active, and just like the other homicides we work, we will get this solved if it's possible.
The shootings remain unsolved. In June, a Jacksonville rapper known as Foolio was murdered in Tampa. Foolio's attorney said the rapper was staying at an Airbnb in Tampa but was asked to leave. He was then shot and killed at a Holiday Inn. 3 other people were also hurt. Immediately, there was a fear this would start a wave of violence.
Will not tolerate foolishness, will not tolerate shootings and needless violence.
Investigators from multiple agencies began working the case and say they were able to track the suspects through cell phones, license plates, and surveillance videos. The shooters seen here with the guns in the parking lot. 4 people were taken into custody in Jacksonville, with 1 still on the run. A break did come for a Jacksonville cold case. After 28 years, an arrest was made in the murder of a Riverside mother, Valerie Ames.
We now have some answers on our beautiful mother, Valerie, and she has finally reached her chance to have justice.
69-year-old Jerry Phillips was taken into custody on sexual battery and second-degree murder charges. No motive was released. He has pled not guilty, and his case is currently moving through the judicial system towards a trial. In St. Johns County, a reality TV star and home builders' worlds would collide and reveal a plot of unfinished homes in a Nocatee neighborhood. In a story we broke, the state attorney's office says Spencer Calvert collected more than $15 million from homeowners and never finished their homes. One of those homes belonging to Below Deck Mediterranean's captain, Sandy Yawn.
We dipped into our bank accounts, used every penny we had, and this is our finished product.
The builder, Spencer Calvert, arrested and charged with several felonies, including misappropriation of construction funds, grand theft, and organized scheme to defraud. He has pled not guilty. Also a major case in 2023 that put a spotlight on Douglas Anderson School of the Arts came to a close this year. Jeffrey Clayton was sentenced for inappropriate actions involving a teenage student during private vocal lessons at the school. The case had sent shockwaves through the school and district and put a spotlight on how inappropriate behavior between students and teachers was being handled. Other teachers were removed from the classrooms as well. Other students also spoke at Clayton's sentencing hearing about their interactions with the teacher. Clayton was sentenced to 10 years in prison. In a Nassau County courtroom, Patrick McDowell learned whether he would receive life in prison or the death penalty for killing Deputy Joshua Moyers during a traffic stop. Defense attorneys argued he had PTSD from serving as a Marine in Iraq and struggled with drug use. But in a surprising move, McDowell took the stand to ask for the death penalty.
I don't want to die, but why should what I want matter? I let this trial go on because I thought maybe I could be convinced that I don't deserve a harsh sentence, but I was wrong.
In the end, the jury decided to recommend death for McDowell in an 11-1 vote. In federal court, the largest fraud trial in Jacksonville's history, JEA back in the spotlight as former CEO Aaron Zahn and former CFO Ryan Wanamaker were put on trial for conspiracy and wire fraud charges, all centering around the failed effort to sell JEA and the multi-million-dollar incentive plan. The trial focusing on who created and knew about that incentive plan.
But we've never had public officials accused of trying to steal tens of millions of dollars in public money. So in raw dollars and cents, this is far and away the biggest alleged fraud in the city's history. 2 different juries were used, one for Zahn and one for Wanamaker. Aaron Zahn was found guilty, while Ryan Wanamaker was found not guilty.
I'm so thankful for the jury and the decision that they made.
Aaron Zahn was sentenced to 4 years in prison. Though Zahn was supposed to surrender himself in October, a judge agreed to move that date to the end of January due to hurricane damage on his home. In St. Johns County, a courtroom was filled as Spencer Pearson learned his fate for attacking his ex-girlfriend Madison Shimitz last year. He attacked Shimitz and her mother as they left the Chubby's Wings in Ponte Vedra, stabbing her repeatedly and wounding her mother as she tried to defend her daughter.
I remember my mom still panicked and holding one of my 17 stab wounds closed. I remember numerous people trying to help keep me alive.
A bystander, Kennedy Armstrong, also rushed in to help, subduing Pearson but getting serious injuries in the process. Shimitz also spent the last year learning to walk again after being paralyzed from the attack. Pearson was sentenced to life in prison by the judge.
Justice today was served, and this is a message to young men or just men in general. Look out, look around you, and if you see someone that needs help, you do it.
The Carnegie Medal was also awarded to Shimitz's mother and Kennedy Armstrong for the bravery shown by both. Now a young college student, Madison Shimitz says she plans to continue using the strength she has gained to help others in similar situations.